Same thing I am facing. What seems like new. Knowing someone cares. Oh, could be you. But I'm so free. Never have to worry. Oh, every girl, every way, still be this way. Never have to worry. Oh, just live on.
All right. Hopefully we can go through with this now.
Oh, could be you. So free.
All right, Master. All right. Yeah. Right. Welcome to the Grand Risings, Galaxy's Grand Rising show here on live on Galaxy of .net. Yes, Galaxy of we.net. Oh wow, what a challenge this rising, yes sir. I'm telling you, everything just I don't know what it is, but just to say briefly, you know us man, we have to go technical upon everybody. But one of the units just wouldn't fire up inside the studio. So unfortunately, I wasn't getting any volume or anything through there. So I wasn't be able to hear you, but you could hear me. But anyhow, we're balancing it out as we're moving through the program, yes, sir. And hopefully by the time that our Dr. Jakob will be in, that everything will be up and ready and running. Yeah. So anyhow, let's see how we progress through our day. And I would say reaching out, at least this connection is all right. And I'm hoping the volume is going to be fine. Right. Welcome, my sister.
Greetings. Welcome, Galaxy family.
Perfecto. Perfecto. I can hear you in the studio, and I'm hoping that you're going to hear
I can hear
it.
you perfectly.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Whatever's happening, there's a clearing. It must be this Black Friday business of one, you know. go shake up and wake up. Let me open the curtain, see some daylight out. Yes, sir. Yeah, as we got a sunrise, yes, sir, over here. You know. Right, right. Anyhow. Welcome. And here we go once again into the what's it? The sea of life itself, right? I know that everybody's waking up, possibly, or probably some of us hasn't even gone to sleep yet because they're spending half all their money on this Black Friday business, right? I know that there was some madness go on, right? Actually, as I was perusing early morning news reports, I just see what's going on in the community. It look like everybody gonna lose their head. Everyone's losing their head, right? It seems like where it was now Dublin, little quiet Dublin, Ireland. Yeah,
Okay.
it look
Okay.
like they gone upon riot over there, so about the one go
Ooh.
tear out and tear out the shop them with all the goods and everything. You know?
Okay. Okay.
Unfortunately, their behavior is not good.
Mm, mm,
Their behavior
mm,
not good. So we'll
mm.
see how that works out because obviously, the mentality of these people is that then thief the clothes and then the next morning they walk down the high street with the same clothes that them thief. You know? I don't know what take them people them head. But I saw them go on. I saw them go
Mm,
on. We'll
mm,
see it here.
mm, mm.
Oi, so you're gonna see a whole heap of new trainer, new tracksuit. Everybody are run up and down. And even clothes that don't even fit them properly. Innit?
You're terrible.
Huh?
You're terrible. You're
Well,
terrible.
I got I call it the grab a barrel, grab it in the barrel
Mm,
mentality. In
mm,
other words, you just
mm,
put the barrel in the middle of the room, and whatever you get, and that's what you have to
mm,
wear.
mm.
Oh boy, anyhow, people, yeah, people. You know what? Let's say to be poor is a crime. To be poor is a
Mm,
crime.
mm,
Why? Anyhow.
mm, mm.
Anyway, I saw it go. I saw it go. Anyhow, so what's happening for you, my sister? What's happened over the last 24 hours since you've been out of my presence?
The
Did you get
world
engaged? You got engaged, is that right?
that hasn't happened in the last 24 hours.
There you
I
go.
went out and I got chirps, but I didn't get engaged.
That's a normal thing, man. That's a
That's
normal
it,
thing.
and that's what I think it is. That's just a normal conversation
Yeah.
in about Jamaica.
A normal thing that man. Child, what are you?
Yeah, yeah. But it's obviously gone past the hour because I went to bed with a party in my head
Ah,
because I could hear the vinyl that it wasn't vinyl because they don't do vinyl now these days.
mm.
But I could hear the tracks that they were
Oh
laying
yes,
down.
we do.
Well, I know some of you do, but they
Yeah.
don't. They've got a very good Apple
Mm,
Macintosh computer, and
mm.
yeah, they had the covers for the speaker boxes on the ground, ready to be pulled over if necessary. So I didn't
For the
hear the
rain.
rain, but I definitely
Mm,
heard the music, and it sounded
mm,
sweet.
mm,
Sounded
mm,
very
mm,
sweet.
mm, So it's sound system Thursday for you.
Yes, yes, yes.
Well done, well done. As it is, actually, yesterday I went down to a place called the Golden Anchor,
Mm-hmm.
Evelina Road, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you were to come and join us down there, so it's
Mm-hmm.
down the Golden Anchor. We had Eddie Regal,
So was that vinyl?
yeah, vinyl. I'm trying to think
Mm.
of what was it now? A- American Express, I think it was. Anyhow,
Okay.
we had those two DJs there,
Mm.
you
Mm.
know.
Mm.
And yes, they were playing some vintage,
Mm.
very rare heard tunes as
Mm.
well, and it was a nice
Mm.
evening by
Mm.
all of the connoisseurs that had
Mhm.
attended.
Mhm.
I tried to, I'm making it sound posh, but it is really.
Well, to go
It-
somewhere and listen to vinyl, it is posh because more often than not, it's when
Laptop
back in the
business.
day, you used to see a DJ walking in, and they used to always walk in with somebody else because someone had to carry the records,
Yeah, yeah.
and they just
Boy,
carried
original
the
box boy.
yes, but now you see a DJ walking in, and you think to yourself, you can't even work out is he the DJ because the little
Mm,
what he's got, all he's got is a laptop, which is in a laptop
mm,
bag,
On a
and
stick and all them things
yeah,
there.
yeah, and
Yeah.
unplug what's being played and plug in what they're playing, and then yeah, they're good to go.
Mm, mm, mm.
They
But
still
anyhow,
manage to do the scratching and stuff like that, and the reversing
mm,
and the wheel and the pull up, but it's a different vibe.
yeah. I'm just checking if we're coming through on the other platforms that we're on as well, because
Okay.
it would be funny if we're just there and we're just making motion with our mouth. Innit? You know how things go. And so the lines are open, and as you can hear, we can hear you now, right?
Mhm,
Hoping that everything is up and running, and that
mhm,
the sound is coming through um good for everybody,
mhm,
yeah, properly,
mhm,
right? If not, you can always message me and tell me if the sound is coming through properly or you're hearing and you're receiving okay, right, on the
Mm.
usual lines. And the lines are 0203-289-6504, or you can text me on 07947-479-219, right?
Mm.
So,
Mm.
you know, let's open that air, fingers crossed that everything is firing okay, right?
Mhm.
And then we can just progress with our program as we had it now. Yesterday,
Mm.
what a firing show! I have to say that there was a nice deep flow of conversation that we had on the
It was.
Blacknificent show.
Yeah. Yeah. That
Uh,
was a that was a good rhythm. That was a good Anyone who
with,
missed it, you can watch it back. Tell them how they can
yeah,
watch it back.
yes, they can. They can watch it back on the Blacknificent Radio Show on YouTube, right,
Mhm.
and also on on the Facebook as well. You can
Okay.
watch it back on there as well. So
Okay. Mm.
in fact, I was reviewing it late last night as I was cooling down, you know,
Mm.
and
Mm.
yeah,
Mm.
it's funny. It's funny that when you're in the flow and doing it, it's completely different to what the
When you're
playback is
playing.
like. But
Mm.
I
Mm.
have to say, I enjoyed that one there, the conversations that we were having
Mm.
there,
Mm.
and with our
Mm.
participants as well, right?
What
So
brother
don't be
Desmond
shy.
and brother Naya.
Don't be shy. Come
Mm.
into the conversation, right?
Mhm.
You know that we're always accommodating in them ways there, right?
Mhm.
At
Mhm.
this point, I would like to extend my appreciation for all of the Galaxy pilots, them, right?
Mhm.
Musical,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
also orator, yeah,
Mhm.
because you know what, the works that we're doing here is an extremely vital one, and I will say also, do not underestimate your
Mm.
worth. Do
Mm.
not underestimate your worth,
Mm.
because as you know, and as we have been told on many occasions,
Mm.
silent listeners,
Mm.
silent listeners out there, in other words, those who don't engage, but they actually
Mm.
listen to us, right?
Mm.
They are benefiting from the information that we share, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Obviously, my flavor is a different flavor to others, and like
Mm.
the and vice versa as well, right?
Mm.
Because
Mm.
you know, we're talking around subjects, and we're talking about subjects in a different manner,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
To
Mm.
most of the presenters and
Mm.
DJs and other
Mm.
programs as well,
Mm.
right? Because
Mm.
some some of them get a little bit get a little bit weary when we speak on how we speak, right?
Mm. Mm. Mm.
And you know, it's one of those things. Until they know the flow of how
Mm.
we operate,
Mm.
then we can't impose our say, oh, this is the right way. Da, 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 da.
Mm. Mm.
No,
Mm.
you know,
Mm.
we're different. We're different in everyone, every
Yeah.
level.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know. So yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
No,
Mr.
that's fine. No, just in terms of remembering yesterday's conversation, and the last thing that I left you with was, what would you do with your 84,400?
Yes.
You worked out what it is, and yeah, you've now got a new set of 84,400. So
Mm,
yeah.
mm, mm. Well, I'm halfway through it right now. So halfway through it right now. Yeah. But you know, you just make yourself useful in whatever way
Mm,
you can. Make a
mm,
progress.
mm,
Yeah.
mm,
Step
mm.
forward. Keep stepping. Keep
Yeah,
stepping.
keep stepping, be mindful of what you're telling yourself. And as you
Mm,
say, we speak about excellence and
mm,
maintaining that level of excellence as you step forward, as you present yourself on a
mm,
day-to-day basis, regardless of where
mm,
you are.
mm, mm,
Do it
mm,
with excellence. Do it with thinking about having those conversations in the community, which
mm,
does help
mm,
sometimes in terms of how you carry yourself or how you think about carrying yourself.
mm, 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 mm. In my readings this rising, right?
mm,
I'm
mm.
I'm going through a series of books by Carter G. Wilson,
Okay.
and he was stating basically it's going through the period of the early stages of him setting up Tuskegee,
Mm,
right, at this
mm,
time,
mm,
and the ups and downs, and what they had to do to
mm,
maintain the sustainability
mm,
of the learning institute, right?
mm, mm,
Although the students were there that attended there, they
mm,
um, they were required to also be part of the maintenance program,
mm,
right? And
mm,
what he was saying is that, you know, that although they were there to learn,
mm,
right, but they also had to work to actually sustain the school.
mm,
And I was
mm,
and putting that into thought now, putting that into thought
mm.
is that how many of us, right? We what's this? I don't know, guys. Right? How many of us actually put this do that? They work, they learn,
Mm,
but they actually
mm,
contribute to the teaching. Right. Hold on,
mm.
let me just take this call here and I'll be back in a moment.
But
All right.
there's
So
something that you just said there, and in terms of what's been happening out here. So you've mentioned learning. So there is someone from the Mary Seacole Foundation who's currently in Jamaica. He's been here for a week, and part of him coming here is to bring over the £5 commemorative coin, which bears Mary Seacole's face and image. So they were celebrating the fact that there is a £5 coin that bears a black woman who made a significant impact during the time of the war, the Crimean War, and the other wars, atrocities that were happening around that time. And she was
mm,
going onto the front line, helping and supporting the
yes.
soldiers. And he was just
Yeah.
saying that that's the first time a black woman has been honored on any such coin. And what they're now doing is fighting for the what's in general circulation to show that the contributions that
Mm,
have been made by others other than your the faces that we see currently on the various notes
mm,
in the denomination. But he
mm,
handed over a copy of the coin to the ambassador, and he offered to open a coin to someone who would help support the Mary Seacole Foundation in
mm.
terms of the work that they've done. So there was that statue that's up at St Thomas's Hospital.
Yeah, yeah,
He's
yeah.
only over here for a week, but he was.
Impressive. It's impressive, though. I have to say. You know, it's
It,
impressive.
it is. It's because when he was talking, when the presenter was introducing him, he asked a question. If you went to the streets in Jamaica and you asked them, "Who is Mary Seacole?"
It's like,
It'd be interesting how many Jamaicans would know who she is,
oh,
even though she is a black woman, but a black Jamaican woman who left
mhm.
Jamaica with the knowledge of the alchemy. And we was talking about alchemy yesterday, with the knowledge of
Yes,
alchemy,
yeah,
and went to the front line and
mm,
provided the care and the love and the
mm,
support to the soldiers who were injured, wounded, patched them
mm,
up. Those who could go back to the front line, they were able to, but those who couldn't, they
mm,
lived.
mm,
And at times like that, with many of the injuries that presented themselves in the
mm,
past, they would have died.
mhm,
And it seemed like upon her death, the her memory was lost, and they said that it was in 1973 that in the early 70s there were people coming over looking for her grave, and it was in 1973 that they finally found the grave, recognized the poor state of repair that
Yeah.
it was in, and they retuned her and so that she could be remembered. And it was 2004 she was the provided with the honor of the
Mm.
best British black woman. She had one of those honors, and then they
Mm.
obviously fought for her statue, which is the first bronze statue of a black person who had done significant things in the UK, and that was put up
Mm.
outside
Mm.
of St Thomas's
What
Hospital just
one
before
of
the
one of the things that you have to appreciate, right? It's like when they did that fundraising for her,
mm, mm, mm,
and obviously it wasn't the government that stepped up; it was those who benefited from her acts
mm,
of kindness,
mm, mm, mm,
and obviously they came together. They they um they booked out this theater,
mm,
and it was oversubscribed, as we would say, right?
mm, mm,
In other
mm,
words, it was so full they couldn't even get more anybody else in there, right?
mm, mm,
All because of this
mm,
one woman,
mm,
you
mm,
know.
mm,
And then
mm,
through that, she was able to gain some monies to actually continue with her life as it
mm,
was at the time,
mm, mm, mm,
right?
mm, mm,
Also, remember that she was offering a service that she saw that she was always doing within Jamaica anyway.
mm, mhm, mhm. She was
And then
hailing, yeah.
just like many of those what come from the
Mm,
Caribbeans and the
mm,
Africas, right?
mm,
When they come to see the motherland,
mm,
and then they're treated like they're nothing,
mm, mm,
right?
mm, mm,
You can imagine the disappointment that they felt,
mm, mm,
because obviously
mm.
while they're in the Caribbean, they're under the
Illusion.
delusion that
Mm,
that that they are doing a fantastic work and
mm,
appreciated by all
mm,
those who come to them,
mm,
right? And then they
mm,
come here and it's a completely different thing,
mm,
right?
mm, mm,
I
mm.
was watching just the other day. I was watching back back broadcast of Three Little Birds,
Okay.
play written by Lenny Henry,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? I think he's written or he's directed or whatever. You know,
Mm,
he's
mm,
part of that team there.
mm,
And
mm,
yeah, and it does it highlights a journey of
mm,
three individuals that came from the Caribbean,
mm,
right? And
mm,
they're surprised as to
mm,
how they were treated,
mm,
right?
mm,
Because
mm,
obviously they come with their dreams of aspirations
mm,
of
mm,
I'm going to be a famous person, or
mm,
I'm gonna have a family that is gonna be,
mm,
and the other person there who's
mm,
very much into the religious aspect, and then
mm,
they come, right, and
mm,
I could relate to that because my mother probably went through that religious thing as well,
mm,
right? And they literally,
mm,
you they're saying that you couldn't attend the church,
mm, mm,
you know,
mm, mm,
right? Which
mm,
which they were so
mm,
much
mm,
into when in the
mm,
Caribbean,
mm, mm,
right?
mm, mm,
And obviously when they come here, it's a different thing now,
mm,
right?
mm,
And then obviously when you think about it, it's only the good nature
mm,
of many of the Caribbeans and Africans, right?
mm,
Why they even stayed,
mm,
in this place. You know,
mm,
apart from some of them probably feel shame
mm,
if they did return. If they
mm,
return and say, "Boy, it's not like all you think it is." If they actually
mm,
turn around and said the truth, right, it'd probably be a
mm,
different story. We'd probably be
mm,
writing a completely different story at this time.
mm, mm,
You know,
mm,
but
mm,
you know, it was what it was.
mm.
But as to Mary Seacole, there's one little known fact that I know of, that there's a garden that is actually dedicated to her.
Okay.
And where this garden is it's literally on the canal, the Grand Union
Mm,
Canal,
mm,
right? And as you are leaving from Duquesne Road, from Shepherd's Bush to go to
mm,
Harlesden,
mm,
yeah, and then
mm,
there's a bridge
mm,
right at the Harlesden and Shepherd's Bush border
mm,
as you cross the Union Canal. And if
mm,
you go down the stairs at that bridge,
mm.
there's a garden area there called the Mary Seacole Garden.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So I discovered that on one of my walks when I was
Mm,
out, when I was over
mm,
that side this, you know.
mm,
And I
mm,
thought, whoa, I wonder how much people know about this place here, sir. You
One
know?
of the best kept secrets.
Huh? Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's on the Grand Union Canal. And yeah,
Mm,
so
mm,
you know, there are many places
mm,
around, right,
mm,
where our presence are
mm,
are there in history, but we
mm,
just have to know where they are, right?
mm,
And
mm.
as I've always encouraged, and I have encouraged before, Black History Walks,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. Yes.
And also the Black Plaque.
Mm,
There's a society,
mm,
young brother actually who's actually pushing that thing to get these plaques put up. You
mm,
know, like the
mm.
blue plaque.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Some of them are blue, and also
Mm,
they're black as well. You
mm,
know, so
mm,
you know those things are around.
mm,
And basically, you know, we should know our landmarks,
mm,
right?
mm,
We should know
mm,
our landmarks.
mm,
Um, even when we in like in your local area, for instance, like in Jamaica,
mm,
what's your local history of your town where you're
mm,
residing? Because
mm.
I know say that boy, that place there have enough things to chat about, right?
Yes. Yes.
so,
Yes. Yes.
so
Yes.
you know, even within that local area
Mm,
there,
mm,
you know, to say, boy, you know, how did it get established?
mm,
Um, who was the main people there that
mm,
made a difference there, you
mm,
know?
mm,
Yeah.
mm,
Even the
mm,
population and things like, you know, little
mm,
things like that,
mm,
right?
mm,
You know, I found a book, and this was when I was just standing in the queue at the post office,
mm.
right? And there was a book there. I'm trying to recall the title of it at the moment. I'm sure it's called the is it Black History of Deptford, something like that, something like that. And yeah,
Okay.
so in me, it, and I'm just there, and I thought, you know what, let me just have a perusal of this book. So basically, I'm standing in the long standing queue,
Yeah.
and I was able to read half the book in the time, right? You know, you know the
Yeah.
photo
Yeah.
reading what I was
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what happened was I was reading and I thought, whoa. And there was so many points there, and they were, because they were picking up points of places that I knew because I used to live in Deptford. Yeah.
Mm,
And I
mm,
thought, oh, let me just hold on to this a minute. And you'd be surprised, even from around the corner for where I used to live,
mm,
right? The amount of
mm,
history that was there, Black
mm,
history as well,
mm,
right? And it followed four individuals' journey, right? Early journey in the
mm,
like 1800s. You know,
Okay.
when it was still a flourishing village.
Mm,
You
mm, mm,
know? And it followed their journey of well, we could call it oppression,
mm,
poverty, and
mm,
then wealth, you
mm,
know,
mm,
education, family, and things like this as well, you know. And
mm,
then, like, the thing is, because I'm very familiar with the areas and the streets around there,
mm,
it brought it to life
mm,
in that way,
mm,
you know.
mm,
So
mm,
yeah, so we know, you know, we should know our history, what
mm,
our part is, and another point as well.
mm,
Make note of your own history and your impact as well,
mm, mm,
right?
mm,
Because like even now, like for instance, when we was there at the vinyl night, we were talking on reminiscing of places that we used to go,
mm, mm,
and even walking to the place, right?
mm,
There was a person there, and he was like, oh, where is this place? Where's this Golden Anchor? And I said,
mm,
oh, it's just in the corner. I'm going up there myself. And he went,
mm,
oh, okay then. And then he was saying that, he come all the way from Ilford,
mm,
and I thought, wow, that's a journey, right? And then, like, I was explaining that I used to live in Barking, right? And he goes, oh,
mm,
right, right, right. So, we was telling, things of what we used to do over there, that side as well.
mm,
And he's, boy, how, people don't really travel like how we used to. Because
mm,
I know the youngsters don't do it. They don't do
mm,
it
mm,
because of this
mm.
postcode lo-
Yeah, yeah,
lottery, I was going to say,
yeah,
postcode war business,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
foolishness,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. They miss out on
Yeah.
the beauty of walking from or traveling from one area to another,
Mm,
seeing, experiencing different things, but
mm,
just to actually then that community element from one
mm,
area to another, which is a loving community rather than a you can't come here unless you've got the right pair of jeans on or the right
mm,
trainers or you went to the school down the road. And to me,
mm,
that's wrong. They're just
mm,
missing out on so much.
mm.
Because as you're talking there, I'm thinking to myself, I know when I go up to Birmingham and speaking to my
Boy, you
cousin,
even, you even got the twang on that as well.
I've got the twang, and I've a
The
few times
twang.
when I used to go out raving with them, and they used to talk about walking from one rave to another,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
it was just, and the way they talk about it was such smile and such,
yeah.
you can just
Because that
see
was
them
part.
really
That was part of the
smiling.
whole thing.
Yeah,
That was part of
yeah,
the whole evening, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It wasn't that they had a car and they jumped in cars and whatever.
Mm,
They just literally trod from one rave to another. And some of the raves I would go to, um, and it you used to think to yourself, yeah, it was worth it.
mm,
You could see that it was worth the walk. But
mm,
it's just not something that the youngers don't do now. They don't
mm.
partake. They either
Yeah,
jump in transport or they just don't go, or they just go and start to fight,
exactly.
which in itself is pointless.
Mm, mm. And this is the thing that we like as you're saying that was one of the things that we sort of as I was walking with that brother, right, to the place, the venue yesterday. That
Mm,
is what we covered, like saying, boy, they would never ever know about that, you know,
mm, mm,
things that
mm,
we things that we experienced,
mm,
right?
mm,
And in many ways it kind of like opened up our appreciation of different areas,
mm,
right?
mm,
Because you'd be walking through those
mm,
areas, you
mm,
know, and
mm.
then obviously running the gauntlet of the law at,
Yeah.
in
Mm,
most places,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
But
mhm,
still, you wasn't like there wasn't a place that you felt like you was a stranger,
mm, mm,
yeah,
mm, mm,
right?
mm,
Unlike many of these youngs there, where they can't even go across their own area. Like if they live in Peckham, right?
mm,
They can't even go
mm,
to north or left or right
mm,
or this
mm,
park, that park or whatever,
mm,
You know,
Or even if
But-
they move out of Peckham or they move out of Croydon,
Mm.
then they can't go back into Peckham. They can't go back into Croydon. You think to yourself, but
what kind of foolishness is
they
that?
went to primary school there, and now they can't go back in as a
Mm.
young person. And you're thinking, no, that there's a problem with the way
Mm.
the young people think and treat one
Mm.
another in relation to the, oh, you can't go here, as if to say
Yeah.
that there's some form of border and some form of
Mm.
fence that you
Mm.
can't come up to, and I'm controlling the border, and it's just, yeah, it's wrong. It's wrong when the English done it to Africa, and it's still wrong
Yeah.
when the youngers are doing it in little London or little
Yeah.
Birmingham or little Newcastle or little wherever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so much wrong with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no,
Yeah. I know that I'm laughing about it, but it does seem, you know, to me, because obviously I'm of a different generation to what a lot of these people, and I let's say the things that I experienced, it was never like that anywhere. I didn't feel that I could go north, west, south, east, and it was like it's up. I wouldn't feel that I wasn't wanted in them areas there by my community anyhow. Right? So
it was just the police, if anybody. But you're talking about in terms of here, so from a history where I'm at now, I know bits of it. I'm actually going to go down to the library. I'm going to make that a task to go down to the library and to see what it says from a local area. But from what my mother had said and from the little that I know, it was, whereas now people talk about Ulterius as being the port where everything comes in, where I am now was effectively the first port.
one of the first, isn't it? Yeah.
It was the first, because it was deep enough, and it was from a bananas, from a cargo, from a, and even now we get the odd cruise ship that comes in like once a month or once every 6 weeks. A cruise ship comes in. That tells you how deep the water is, because they wouldn't be able to navigate and come in. But before you had the cruise ship, but everything has been moved from the west to the, or from the east to the west, in terms of the tourism, etc., and the money being ploughed in. But this side was the first from a tourist, from a making use of the water and transporting goods outside of Jamaica. It was in Port Antonio. And
One
then
of the things that I came across a few days ago, right? That I know that we started a conversation a few years ago with Lloyd and myself about access to the beaches, right? And I think that it's gathered momentum now within Jamaica, that many of the, like the fishermen, if I use that one there, and as along with the locals as well, they're not able to gain access to their beaches, or their beaches, right? Mainly because of people, no, industries that are buying the beachfront properties, and then they're cutting off access, which would be like local paths and everything to get access to the beaches. One of the ones that comes to my mind at this particular time is that for them to actually come onto the beachfront area, sorry, I'm talking them, the people who sell to the tourists and things like this, right? For them to actually gain access to the beachfront areas, they have to literally walk through mangrove areas to actually gain access to the beach. And then, even when they're coming to the actual beach, They've been told that they can't approach anybody on the beach, right? And they have to stay on the water edge. They have to stay by the water edge, right? So that the people have to come down to them, you know? And I think to myself, but wait, it's their island, their place of residence, right? And they got it so that they that it is a secluded area now, right? And like one of the things that one of the persons who was on there, she was saying that they had to sometimes walk in the water rather than walk on the sand to actually to go past a certain hotels, right? And I thought, what a disgrace! What a disgrace! Huh?
So there's two things that I would say to that, and yes, it is a disgrace, but sometimes the good will suffer for the bad, because some of the individuals who are selling, or they're plaiting hair, or they are too passionate about what they're doing that they don't actually understand the word no. So because there's the odd one that don't understand the word no and will then harass, quote unquote, those who are just turning over and getting a tan, they then say there's nobody that's allowed, and then they have security. So that means those that are legitimately asking a question. And I think in some senses, within the UK, the same thing happens, because if someone approaches you, they're Guide Dogs for the Blind or Cancer UK, within 3 feet, if you walk outside of that 3 feet window, they've got to stop talking. They can't approach you. And within the UK, they actually do adhere to that. So that means they encourage you. And then once they've got you within that 3 feet, then they will continue that conversation, because they figure that you really want to hear what they're saying. But in Jamaica, they don't have that same discipline or behavior. So if you don't want to hear, they don't not stop asking the question. And then someone else comes over, and you've got, hey, there's only so many beads that you're going to really want, regardless of the color. There's only so much you're going to really want to buy. And if you go there on a regular basis, as in come to the island on a regular basis, you've been there, you've seen that. You've already got the photograph. You've already got the carvings. You've already got the beads. You've already got the... So you don't want any more. You just want to enjoy the sunshine, which comes at a high premium in the UK. So they don't... I think I've heard of women.
They even put it in a bottle.
They put it in a tin, and it travels well. But once you open the tin, it just like disappears. It's that global warming. But there's people that don't have that element of discipline of just staying back. So they've ruined it. They've given the hoteliers and those who own or buy that beachfront property an excuse to justify why they are doing what they're doing. I'm not saying what they're doing is right, but there's an element of those who are selling. So if you go down to the craft market, any of the craft markets in Ocho Rios, in Montego Bay, and on some of the beaches, and you just want to look, and there's a beauty of just being able to just stand in the space and just look. They've all got the same thing, but just to go and just look. But the passion that they have with their stall and what's in their stall. Come in. There's no charge for looking. But can't I look from outside? Because I can see all. No, come in. There's no charge for looking. Do you like this? Do you like? And you're thinking, no. So if I'm going and I'm with Sharon, my level of tolerance, my level of tolerance can be at a 1. Sharon's level of tolerance is at a 9, and she's heard it once. She's not interested. She doesn't go in those places anymore because it's better. Because they have so much passion about their goods that they don't understand. No, thank you, I'm not interested. But come in. No, thank you, I'm not interested. So they ruin it then for, and you see them when when the buses come and the from the
Yeah,
hotel,
yeah, yeah.
they then rush the bus.
Mm,
And even when was I? When we were in Ochi, no, Montego Bay. So
mm,
they literally met us at the entrance, which is down on the street. So the
mm,
lady's walking with us, and I'm thinking, oh, this is pretty relaxed. This is pretty relaxed. And oh, come, come, come. And when
mm,
I viewed what she was offering, I thought, I've been here, done this,
mm,
1974. I no longer need anything.
mm,
What I'm looking for now is A, something different, B, something that's unique, but
mm.
C, I'm going to support the individual because I feel in it in my heart.
Yeah,
But the minute then that I didn't come to her establishment, you could hear the cursing under her breath
yeah.
in the most loving way. But the frustration, cursing him by way of frustration, that I met you all the way down there, I showed you where you was going. I wasn't lost, by the way, and I would have found it by
Yeah.
me. This was the only road going in this direction,
Mm-hmm.
so I would have found it. But you could hear the frustration in their voice. And then a group of tourists was being let out of a bus, so you could see a Gladbag bus again, and she's going over to the group of tourists, and I'm thinking
Yeah.
that's the reason why. If I'm with Sharon, she doesn't go, like I said, into these places because of the way they
So
carry on.
you need to have a Sharon that's off for with you.
I don't mind because, like I said, my tolerance level, I can go there. When I go to reach, not reach falls. When I go to what do you call it, the falls, the
Mm,
waterfalls, the mineral water bath fountain. My tolerance for levels, I can hear all the noise, and I'm not
yeah,
gonna,
be following all of them things
no,
there.
I'm not gonna get involved. I'm not gonna get entwined. I can shut off the noise and
Mm,
enjoy the space without you telling me about. Well, I'll show you up. I know where I'm going. There's only one path in. There's one path out. I'm gonna get bitten by
mm,
the mosquitoes. I know these things. I'm gonna
mm,
take
mm.
my time. You guys need to clean it up. Yeah, yada yada. I
Yeah, yeah.
I understand these things.
You know something? As you said that, right? Like it's talking about Bath Mountain, um, the external spa,
Yeah, yeah. It is a
right?
beautiful spa, but you've got to
Huh?
have it's a beautiful spa, but you've got to have a tolerance level of, yeah, you've got to
Yeah.
be able to get down to the one. If you tip over at anything five and above, don't go. No, go, but just be mindful.
Mm, mm.
Be very, very
Yeah,
mindful.
yeah. You have to be. I wouldn't say patient, as you rightly say, tolerant.
It's tolerant. It's
Yeah.
having ability to no,
Mm.
no, no.
Yeah. One of my frustrations though is that Jamaica is not for Jamaicans, right? And
Mm,
unfortunately, the tourist thing, right, and the corporate things have taken
mm,
over um, a lot of there, right?
mm,
And in my opinion, right, they need to change the law on that. They
mm,
really do need to change the law on there.
mm, mm,
Barbados, I know in Barbados, that is not the case at all. There's no private beaches down there,
mm, mm,
right?
mm, mm,
I feel that Jamaica needs to adopt the same attitude,
mm, mm,
right?
mm,
They
mm,
need to adopt the same attitude of that,
mm,
that no, there's no private beaches down here,
mm, mm,
right?
mm, mm,
If there's a beach down there, you'll only get, if you're the hotel, you only get like 10% of
You
the
get a hit.
surface from
Mm,
from the hotel,
mm, mm,
right?
mm, mm,
Literally,
mm,
that's what
mm,
if it
mm,
was me,
mm,
that's what I would
mm,
say.
mm,
Yeah.
mm,
If you want to
mm,
fence that piece off and whatever, that's your
mm,
10%.
mm,
Everything else is public.
mm, mm,
Yeah.
mm, mm,
Right. Because like
mm,
in my opinion, it's a total insult to
mm,
to uh the island occupants.
mm,
Yeah. Right.
mm,
And they should never, never, never allow those type of things there.
mm,
Never allow, you
mm,
know?
mm,
And if anything, and what I was thinking in my mind's eye is that they should have a petition at the airport,
mm,
right?
mm,
As people come in, they can
mm,
sign their petition,
mm, mm.
right? But no doubt the government will put a block on that
Yeah, because
anyway,
that
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because like for me, it is morally wrong.
Mm,
It's the
mm,
same entrapment that they done with the Maroons,
mm, mm,
right?
mm,
No access to water
mm,
or the
mm,
sea,
mm,
right? So therefore they were cut off as an inland clave.
mm, mm,
Yeah.
mm, mm,
But it's crazy. It's
mm,
absolutely crazy that
mm,
we in the 2024 23, sorry, that
mm,
we're we're still being subjected to these draconian type attitudes and war and practices.
mm, mm. No,
Yeah.
I hear you because I'm thinking about a space which is likely to be shut off to the locals, and I'm thinking of the Blue Lagoon
Mm.
in Port Antonio, whereby there's sandals.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's it then. If
That's
sandals come, they come with the same foolishness. Yeah.
and they at the moment you can see that they're building at the moment, and there's only a little strip that you can use to go in.
Mm.
But you can imagine that once they're finished building, they will have built up the sand base because there isn't that much sand there. But then they're
Mm.
going to close down the little access that's there,
Mm.
and or just give them one way in, which is
Mm.
yeah, you park the vehicle up the road and you've got the one way in.
Mm.
And it's a beautiful spot from a swimming point of view. But that's an example of where. So that means in the past, the fishermen used to be able to come up,
Mm.
take people out, go fishing, go visit one of the other beaches. Winifred is pretty close, and there's Boston in the opposite direction. That's
Mm.
pretty close.
Mm.
So they stopped the boats from coming in, the fishermen from coming in. So their logic behind it, or rationale or reasoning behind it, is the boats use petrol. Petrol destroys the reef and
Mm.
destroys the natural environment within the Blue Lagoon
Mm.
and the water and etc., and the marine life. So they stop them from coming in. But those same, and I don't know whether or not they would, but they could actually row in and row as in canoe without any power. But they've literally just said, no, you guys can't come in, you can't operate in this area.
Mm.
And if anyone does try to, they either get told off or snitched upon by someone else that's there. And all of a sudden the police turns up,
Yeah.
or they've, I don't know whether or not they use drones or whatever, but they do know that they're in the area if they go into the Blue Lagoon. So when we went down there to swim, and just to enjoy the natural environment, that was a time when we saw that the hotel and the walls had already been built. So that means they were locking it off, but they wouldn't allow. So even one of the guys we were with was trying to convince one of the fishermen to say, yeah, you can come down, bring your boat, yada, yada. And he
Mm.
said, no, because if they do it, the fine that they get slapped with isn't
Mm.
worth even if we had a full boat of people, the fine is bigger than the full boat, and we've still got to live
Mm.
and feed our families.
Mm. That's sad. That is so sad.
Yeah, yeah.
That is sad, man.
So
Yeah.
he even said, "What if you guys rowed in and then we pick up the boat, so at least the tourists and our family could get an idea of the island from that side and go on
Mm.
the speedboat and go out and possibly go deep feet, deep sea and do a bit of fishing or whatever."
Mm.
And he said,
Mm.
"No, we can't do it. It's against the law now."
Mm.
And this
Mm.
is, I don't know whether or not the hotel has added to the fact that the presence is no longer, your presence is no longer required.
Mm.
they will obviously have their cameras up, so that means it's easier then to catch the fishermen if they're coming in and they try to sneak in. However, they
Mm,
try to sneak in, surreptitiously or whatever.
mm.
But yeah, that's the state of things. So
That's
yeah,
it.
there is a campaign regarding the beaches and giving access to the beaches.
Mhm.
But even though there is a campaign, the hoteliers or the individual still buy the property, and yeah, all of a sudden it becomes mine. This
Mm.
is the land. This is the land of this is the line of demarcation, and if you cross it, it's a criminal offence.
Which is a shame, really. Which is an absolute shame,
Mm,
because, like, it's one of those things of that, and it is inspired by the words of Marcus Garvey,
mm,
right? When they say
mm,
Africa is for Africa, Jamaica is for Jamaica, and
mm, mm,
within that speech there,
mm,
and I think to myself, how could we allow ourselves to be pushed into such a corner,
mm,
or even allow these type of laws to actually be imposed on us, you
mm,
know?
mm,
And it literally is that we have to fight for everything,
mm,
everything,
mm,
you know?
mm,
And especially like a place like there, and we know that the tourist pound doesn't really filter down to the people,
no,
right? It's
no,
not it's not a case of that we're supporting the island in any way.
mm, mm,
With most of our monies that we spend
mm,
if we go on vacation there,
mm,
right?
mm.
It literally is going. It's just going to the hotel and straight
Mm,
back out
yeah,
again.
yeah. If you go into the hotel, everything's controlled
Hmm.
unless you choose to. Because even when we were there, and Sharon and I stayed in the hotel in Montego Bay,
Hmm.
and the driver who dropped us, the taxi driver, the local taxi driver, said that he wasn't allowed to drive in because they've
Into the
got their
into the
own
complex of the hotel.
because they've got their own designated drivers that they would call you, and they charge you the tourist rate, whereas the costs from the Knutsford, which is the airport, to
Hmm.
the hotel, you can walk it. To be fair,
Hmm.
even if you've got a little trolley dolly and you've got hand luggage, you could walk it, and it's on wheels. You could walk it. It's that close, relatively speaking.
Hmm.
But if you're taking one of their taxis, they're charging you. They start with American dollars, and then
Hmm.
they work back in their head. Sometimes they get it so wrong. The
Hmm.
Jamaican pound, their exchange rate is always different than what is actual the actual exchange rate.
Is what them get away with.
Yeah, yeah. And then and what he charged us, it was like, yeah, but he couldn't go no further. So he
Hmm.
dropped us off, and yeah, and swung round before we got to the barrier of the hotel.
Crazy.
And then we took his number and we shared his number with some of the others in the hotel
Hmm.
who were going back to the airport, traveling back the next day or the day after,
Hmm. Hmm.
because they were saying that they were being charged silly money
Hmm.
from the hotel taxis, or the taxis that the hotel had called, against what he was going to charge their family to get to the airport.
Hmm. 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 Hmm.
So yeah, once you're in the hotel, the money doesn't filter down unless you're prepared to come out of the
Yeah.
hotel.
Yeah. And
And
when we do visit these places, even on the continent as well,
mm,
you know, we should be
mm,
we should be aware of what's happening and how the locals are treated in that
mm,
way, right?
mm, mm,
Um, you know what? Everybody's on the hustle. Everyone's on
mm,
the hustle in
mm,
one way or another,
mm,
you know. But
mm,
obviously, if it serves you, it serves you. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
mm,
So it's
mm,
not a case of that. Oh, you have to avoid all of this, and don't
mm,
talk to those people and everything.
mm,
Once you
mm,
once you once you establish yourself to say, look, this is what I want. I
mm,
don't need that service or whatever.
mm,
Most of them are are willing to help you,
mm,
right, in whatever way that they can, obviously,
mm, mm,
But we shouldn't let that be something that's going to hinder us as
mm,
well. I
mm,
don't get me wrong. There are some who they go and they said, "Oh, I went and I had the Jamaican experience, and the
mm,
hotel was so lovely."
mm, mm, Well, they did theme nights.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, oh yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
theme nights would have
Grass,
helped give the
grass skirts and hula hoops.
there would have been a reggae night, and there would have been a West Indian or Jamaican food
Yeah, food
night.
taste.
In terms of, yeah, so that means that might have been, so again, when we were at the hotel,
Mm.
hey, I'm at a hotel, so I want my ackee and saltfish. Sorry, I want to eat my dumpling, my flour dumpling, my green banana. I want
Yeah.
the
Let
breakfast.
me show how it is guy.
That we requested. We wanted ackee and saltfish,
Yeah,
and they went back to the kitchen and they rustled up some ackee and saltfish.
yeah,
It wasn't
yeah,
Wednesday, and that's ackee and saltfish day. We were told, and we weren't there
yeah,
on a Wednesday. We were there on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday,
yeah,
and we
yeah.
were able to get ackee and saltfish on all the days. And sometimes the
Mm.
other people were looking at us as if to say, "But your dish looks
Oh, you
different
get
from
that.
mine. It doesn't look like a scrambled egg."
Yeah,
When you
exactly.
get it formal, we
Mm,
asked for what we wanted
mm,
from a
mm.
breakfast point of view, and then most people that looked like us was doing exactly the same thing. They weren't waiting for the Wednesday and the Friday when it was ackee and
Yeah,
saltfish day. They were asking in
exactly.
between times.
Baked bean and sausage.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's beautiful then that they can cater for all, but they
Mm.
also have the chefs in the background who can actually, yeah,
We'll do it. Yeah,
roughly
they will do that. Yeah.
we'll do the portion, and we know that there's going to be someone that's going to ask. So
Well, the
let's
thing
just
is that like with most of those places, right? You get like a private or not private, but a separate um catering
mm,
for certain people who they like their executive level.
mm, mm,
Put it,
mm,
yeah.
mm,
So
mm,
therefore, their menu is quite extensive. So
mm.
sometimes they say, well, some of that executive food there.
Yeah, and it is worth just asking the question. If you go to the restaurant, if you go to a hotel, and they will have certain nights, certain days which are themed.
Mm,
Oh, that's the why. When you go to a hotel or you go to any establishment, get to know the people that are A, behind the bar, and B, in
working.
the
That's right.
kitchen, and those who are serving, because then you ask the question. The worst case scenario is that they say no. Best case
Mm.
scenario, you think when you belch and you think to yourself, yeah, that went down well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Went down well. Or I
yeah.
just need some coconut water and I'm good to go.
Mm, 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 mm,
Or hot chocolate, the tea, the traditional, the proper tea, not this thing in a
yeah.
packet. I'm good to go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
it.
Well, it's one of those things that we have to look to see what we can get from it,
Mm,
and to
mm,
and don't be shy, because like when you go on them package thing there,
mm,
they really take their eyes out of you. They
mm,
do.
mm,
Some of
mm.
them though. I'm telling you.
And
I
the
mean,
other thing, just as an aside, but adds to it, there's someone I was listening to the radio. I don't listen to the radio as much as I did in the past
mm,
when I was here, and they were talking about Eat Jamaican. So it's
eat
only
Jamaican.
at that time that you will actually eat Jamaican,
Mm,
because it's a traditional food. So it's going to be the ackee, the saltfish, the green banana, the um,
mm,
sweet potato, the
mm,
dasheen. That those are Jamaican.
mm,
Whereas
mm.
more often than not, the produce that the hoteliers are using may be the imported carrots, the
Well, of
imported
course they are.
tomatoes, the
They are.
imported
They are.
onions, the
Yeah.
imported rice, even though Jamaica doesn't harvest
Mm,
rice. Yeah, you get what I mean. So
mm,
ask for the local foods.
mm, mm. Mhm,
And if they
mhm. 'Cause
don't do it on
I
the
I I
day,
re I re I
they'll do it
remember
the
one
next day.
once, yeah. I remember once I did go when I was on vacation out there.
Mm,
I said, well, I could just do some odd food right now, you know. I
mm,
said, no, I go do it. They don't do that for the hotel guests. He goes,
mm.
but if you go outside and you go down to you understand? Right?
Sometimes you don't mind traveling just outside in order to get it because you've already traveled how many hours on the plane.
When you
So
when
that's
you get that
easy.
withdrawal, when you get that withdrawal habit there, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
it's like when I
Mm-hmm.
travel sometimes, right? I would have to find an African restaurant or something just to get some decent food,
Mm,
you know,
mm, mm,
something to
mm,
like
mm,
sustain me. And like when I'm going there and
mm,
I'm ordering 2 or 3 dishes, they say,
mm,
why? Why? And I go, listen, I haven't eaten anything decent for the past
mm,
3 weeks.
mm,
So don't
mm,
even judge me.
mm.
Hey, I haven't eaten nothing decent. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I tell
No, I
them,
know.
tell them about eating all this white people food and all that.
Mm,
Them things will kill
mm,
you.
mm, 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 mm. A lot of it
Yeah.
is from a um, something that's going to sustain and
Mm.
feed your body. There's lots of it that isn't as healthy as it
No.
initially appears.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So
I stopped you. You was talking about the Tuscany and
it's key.
the Tuskegee and the
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because like,
Cuba.
like even to one of the points I was reading this morning is that you have students that they actually come and they're
Mm,
working and they're learning,
mm,
um usually to like maintain themselves and everything else, right?
mm,
But imagine now that within the industry, and one of the things that I took away from this my reading this morning is that those students that actually attended at that time when they
mm,
were when they were in the um, building of the institution there,
mm,
right? Some of them were working and they were getting paid,
mm,
right, for their services. Some of them were working and just for food and board,
mm,
right?
mm,
And in there, it kind of for me, it instilled within them that although you may be getting an education, a higher education, but
mm,
you still have to work for it,
mm, mm, mm,
right? So
mm,
it
mm.
for me, it instilled within them the work ethic,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. A mentality.
Forwarding to last
Mm,
Sunday, there's
mm,
a one of the shops, the local shops, they've um they've taken over from a previous owner,
mm,
right? So
mm,
they've come in there, revamped the whole place and everything.
mm,
And so they're running their business. So last Sunday I just popped over there to just get a few items.
mm,
And then behind the counter was a young man. He was probably about, I would say 11, 12,
mm,
right? And he's overlooking the person who's working in there and everything. And then
mm,
like as I'm being served now, I said, "Is your son?" And he said, "No, this is my nephew."
mm,
So I goes, "Oh, good." And he goes, "So he's learning the business?" And he goes, "Yeah, yeah, he's learning the business, you know." He said,
mm,
that's what we do. We bring them in,
mm,
right? And so that they know how to run the business and how hard their parents work,
mm,
you know? And I
mm,
said, "Good. That's good, you know." And I was thinking, boy, look at this now. This young man, although he's going to go to school,
mm,
right? And I know what's
mm,
going to happen is that he's going to come in from school, and then he's going to be working in there, even if it's 2 or 3 hours
mm,
in the
mm,
evening, whether
mm,
he's like stock
mm.
restocking the shelves or something like that,
We're just
right?
brushing down and
But the,
cleaning off.
but the work
Mm,
the work ethic is there.
mm, mm,
Work
mm,
ethic is
mm,
there.
mm,
You know what I mean?
mm,
So he's not
mm,
he's not going to be coming in and then boy, I'm going out to play with my friend
mm,
them,
mm. Or
right?
sitting on the Xbox or any of the
All them
computers.
things there, yeah,
Mm, mm,
right. He's gonna be doing that, and I know that I'm gonna see him in there probably on a regular basis,
mm,
right?
mm,
And
mm,
then as you walk out the place, you're gonna see all these picnic them I run up and down upon bike,
mm, mm,
whatever they're
mm,
doing or whatever they're doing,
mm,
children being
mm,
children. But
mm,
that's the two sides of the coin, right? There,
mm,
so
mm,
you
mm,
know.
mm, mm,
And then
mm,
what they're gonna do? They're gonna cuss them down, saying, "Ah, they're this.
mm,
Look at them. They're doing this. They're doing that." But yet
mm,
they're doing what they need to do for their families.
mm,
You know
mm,
what I mean?
mm,
So it's just one of those things of that the connection that
mm,
was there, you know.
mm, mm,
And in some ways, I feel that we could actually adopt that attitude there as
mm,
well,
mm,
right? Do something practical
mm,
with our young people,
mm,
yeah.
mm,
Ensure that as much as they are studying, that they're actually doing some practical work as well,
mm,
yeah,
mm,
and not
mm,
necessarily working for somebody else,
mm,
but working for us,
mm,
yeah? Doing something within our community for
mm,
us to have it, even if it's voluntary,
mm,
yeah, even if it's voluntary to
mm,
do something for ourselves,
mm,
So it's just one of those sorts that came through my mind while I
mm.
was reading that this morning.
I know when I was, and I've heard Charmaine Simpson from Black History Studies
Mm,
speaking about it, and others speaking that when they went to university, they were working for somebody else, but they had their part-time
mm,
job. My goddaughter was the same when she went and was doing her midwifery,
mm,
was working part-time. She was working in Nando's when she was doing her qualification.
mm,
So there are pockets of us that do it.
mm.
We don't always work in our with
Community.
people who look like us or our
Mm,
community because we may not necessarily have that as easily when we move outside of the
mm,
arms or the bosoms of London or the
mm.
big cities,
Yeah,
Birmingham.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but it's doing something. And even here, and I think to myself in terms of Jamaica, in the past, my mother would say before they
Mm,
went to school, they would um, go to move either feed the chickens, move the goat, do whatever. And when they came
yeah,
home, they'll do something
yeah.
once they took off their school clothes, they'll do something um, practical. And it was I was having that conversation with my cousin yesterday, my cousin's dad yesterday, and he was saying that they used to in terms of going into school, they'd walk barefoot, get to school, put on their shoes, stand in the line. They'd be inspected to make sure that their hair was of a length and their fingernails were clean. And if their fingernails
Mm,
wasn't clean, they'd have to go wash their hands before
mm,
they come into class. So there was a standard
mm,
that clearly dropped because the pity them walking barefoot meant that they were doing other things before they went to school. There were
mm,
other things that they had to do from a household point of view, from a provisions point of view, from an animal's
mm,
point of view that they were doing before they went to school. That
mm.
I don't know, have we got it easier? Children jump in a car, go to school, and
Yeah.
stay how many hours in school, and then jump in a car and come home.
Mm, mm, mm.
Again, there's something wrong with that picture because there's a mentality that they don't always appreciate how hard their parent has worked to make that juggle to fit them in, to get them to school, to then get to the office, to get the isms and schisms whilst they're there, and then
Mm.
to go pick them up again. And they don't always appreciate the fact that they want the trainers that are the latest.
Just come.
Yeah,
Just come.
yeah, has come with a price, a pretty
Yeah.
hefty price tag that their parent is or guardian is entertaining, but
Mm,
it's that work ethic. They don't always appreciate. They don't see. And many a time I've heard people say that it's only when their parent retired that they realize how hard their parent was working or how little they saw of their parent. But during the as they were growing up, they just didn't know, didn't appreciate.
So true, man. So true. So true. The way how life can be sometimes, right? We make it seem as if it's easy for a lot of our children. Like for instance, I know my children have mentioned it when I was there with them that oh, you're hardly here, and I go, well, I'm working, you know. But like obviously to a child, it's not a case of if you're working, you're just not there.
Yeah.
Right?
Whereas that young person in the shop can see why his parent isn't there because he's
That's right.
because
Part of it, part of the net, yeah.
He's part of that conversation. So when they sit around the table and they talk about money, he can get involved. When they talk about business, he can get involved. Whereas when our parents were talking about business, they often told us to leave, or they spoke about it in a way that we just didn't get it.
And the thing is also, right? I don't know what his parents or whatever they're doing, but you're guaranteed, like for instance, now they open their business there now from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Right? And I guarantee it's probably the same person you'll go in there and see there 7 days a week. Right? More or less the same person, but 7 days a week. Right? And I think to myself, boy, these people are relentless, man. Relentless. You know? So even for you to have a business of equivalent, you would have to be putting in that time anyhow. Right? And it's not a case of you start your business as you open the door. You have to do preparation and everything before. So they're probably there from 5 o'clock a morning. Yeah. Setting out everything and whatever, ensuring say there's fresh food and fresh items and everything there. Yeah. So you know, so you have to give kudos to whoever's doing their works, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Most definitely. Most definitely. I see that you've put the number up. If anyone wants to get in there and join our conversation.
Last 10 minutes of the program.
Yeah. So the number is 0203 289 6504. Or if you want to send a text to say, yep, you're enjoying this conversation, send a text to 079 4747 9219. That is 079 4747 9219. Just send us a text and just let us know whether or not this conversation, whether or not it's making you smile as you're getting yourself ready in order for your day. Is it making you smile?
Yep. There you go. Just got my notification to do my photo reading. But I had to do it prior to coming into the show on this rising.
Okay. You know that
See, I was scheduled. Huh?
You're speaking about it on our previous show. So do you want to give some details of if there's anyone out there that wants to?
Oh yeah. Right. Let's just cut through the thing. Right. Photo reading is a way of how I do a lot of my reading. You can literally read a book within 2 hours. You know, you can glean all the information from that book within literally 2 hours or less if you're proficient. Yeah.
But you was talking about the course yesterday.
The course. Oh, the person who ran the course is Marilyn Devonish, right? Marilyn Devonish, and Transformation. That's it. Transformation, Marilyn Devonish, right? So if you're interested in about photo reading, and what I would suggest is that you look it up, do your research on it, And
Mm,
I will say to you, it's a very, very powerful uh, technique,
mm,
right, of covering a lot of material in an extremely short time,
mm,
right?
mm,
And practice make perfect. So it's one of those things of that. It's a skill that that anybody and everybody can attain. And
mm,
if you're a person who covers a lot of reading or has to do a lot of reading, I would put this one in your arsenal as well. You
mm,
know, doing
mm,
some photo
mm,
reading. Right?
mm,
There's many of us who probably do it, but we don't even realize that we're doing it. You
mm,
know,
mm,
but to
mm,
to actually enhance the skills around it
mm,
is definitely an added bonus as
mm,
well. Right?
mm,
And it's
mm,
not only with books, but it can be done on computers as well.
mm,
All elements of where you would do the readings as well. Okay,
mm,
right, and it doesn't
mm,
matter if you're dyslexic, it works as well.
mm, mm.
Right, so no excuses.
No excuses.
No excuses, man. Yeah, and I have to say kudos to those who do have that challenge there as well,
Mm,
because
mm,
there's many who do have that challenge,
mm,
right? And they're still producing works,
mm,
impressive works
mm,
as well. So,
mm, mm.
and yeah, right. 5 minutes summarization, my sister.
So I was going to say, uh, you started speaking it from in terms of speaking about Tuscany,
Yeah.
Tuskegee, and
Hmm.
just the work ethic. And then I sidetracked the conversation and speaking about where I am and the area. So we spoke about what do we know. We also spoke about the beaches that are being closed off um, through, and some of the times it may appear to be right, but the general practice in Jamaica that there are more and more spaces, beach spaces that are being closed off. Um, and what can we do about it as individuals, but also in terms of recognizing the rights of those who actually live here, have access to the water. And there was something that I just saw in there that there's so many Jamaicans that can't swim. They were talking about that on the radio, that there's so many of them that can't swim.
Yeah,
Bearing in
yeah.
mind there's lots of rivers and streams and water, and we're surrounded by water.
Mm,
Um, but there are places of beauty that we don't use, we don't know. And then
mm,
within our own local area, what do we know about our own local area? And be
mm,
prepared to just understand and do the research and do the little bit of reading around our own local area. So when we're standing in the queue, we can have a conversation with someone
mm,
other than grumbling about standing in the queue. We can talk about the local area. We can start a conversation. We were speaking about hotels and the food and being able to get the local foods rather than the food of the day, which may not necessarily sit well on your palate when you might be traveling to a
sausage
foreign
and egg,
area. Yeah,
egg and sausage again.
yeah. It comes with beans this time, and it's not Heinz beans. It's the local beans that are being made up from the natural beans, and you think to yourself, "But this isn't Heinz." But that's a
Mm,
different conversation. But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
our conversation has been pretty eclectic this morning. And
Mm,
we also spoke about not Florence Nightingale, Mary Seacole.
circle. That's
Mm,
right.
yeah.
The real,
And
the real woman. The real one.
yeah, yes.
All right then. All right then.
The
I know,
commercial.
I know I've got to end out the show with some excellence, right? So I know that we touched on this young lady uh yesterday, right? So here we
Yeah,
go. All right. Until we meet again, right? Have a peaceful day. Next up,
yeah.
we will be our Dr. Jacob as well. Okay, so
Her own reality show. Yet, as fun as it might seem, Anala's journey was not without challenges. As she continued to excel academically, it became obvious that she was lonely. Her intelligence made it challenging for her to connect with her classmates, who couldn't relate to her interests and ideas. She often felt better studying books, spending long hours reading page after page, learning about new things, but she was also doing this to escape from the lonely reality that she had no friends. This constant pursuit of knowledge also came at a price. Alana's health started to suffer because she didn't take care of herself. She skipped her meals, spent nights reading instead of sleeping, and didn't go outside much. This made her weaker and less energetic. One evening, Alana's health problems finally caught up with her. As she was reading, she collapsed from exhaustion because her body couldn't handle it anymore. Her parents were shocked to find her slumped on the floor. An ambulance was called, and the little genius was rushed to the hospital. There, the doctors found a serious health condition that was troubling her. It was chronic fatigue syndrome. This condition had developed because she had not been resting like a normal 5-year-old should. It was a sad turn of events for Alana and her family. It showed that even the smartest people need to take care of themselves. It was a long and difficult journey for Alana to get better. This incident taught the family a valuable lesson. Their daughter had to balance her pursuit of knowledge with taking care of her physical and emotional health. But Anala's story was far from over. As she recovered, her insatiable thirst for knowledge continued to drive her. Now that you remember Anala very well, let's talk about what happened to her. Her journey reached its peak when she was given a surprise invitation. The little girl was invited to join Mensa, a world-famous club for people with very high IQs. Members of Mensa must score in the top 2% on an IQ test. Anala exceeded all expectations by scoring in the top 1%. This made her one of the smartest people in the entire world. The invitation to join Mensa was a big deal. This showed that Anala wasn't just incredibly smart. She also worked really hard to learn. It showed that young minds can achieve amazing things when they have a loving and supportive environment like that of Anala. As she joined the ranks of only 2,800 Mensa members under the age of 18, Anala made her family proud at such a young age. In a world where brilliance knows no age, Anala's story was a testament to the limitless potential of young minds. As she embarked on the next chapter of her journey, one thing was abundantly clear. Anala Beavers was a true genius and a source of inspiration for people worldwide. Anala's story showed that anyone can be smart, no matter how old they are. Her journey is a reminder that learning is fun and important, and that we all have the ability to achieve great things. What do you think about Anala? Are there any child geniuses you know personally? Thank you for watching.
Worth a reminder that there are the geniuses amongst us, the child geniuses amongst us. Getting that balance will, enhance them.
Oh, na 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 na. One of these fine days, we're gonna meet again. There won't be no denomination. One of these days, we're gonna meet again. With people from different nations. One of these fine days, we're gonna meet again. There won't be no denomination. One of these days, we're gonna meet again. With people from different culture. I'm pressing on right now to the mark of the higher calling. There are obstacles.